the vision is yet for an appointed time. But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
Just imagine, not needing to remember endless passwords or PIN codes. No wallet, debit cards, or access passes needed. Just swipe your hand.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, we've been microchipping animals, and we've been microchipping our soldiers for years now.
Enterprise architect Richard Hammer believes we'll be seeing more people getting chipped in the years to come.
40 years ago we were talking about this, but now it's happening,
It's a reality.
The whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish.
There's three aspects to this New World Order. A New World Economic Order in which a computer chip will be injected into our hands or foreheads as a means to track, control, and identify us, and will also be used to make our purchases and scan of
Well, they've already put the program in. I was told by one central banker who'd seen the CBDC being shown it by one of the major old central banks. They were ready to roll it out in 2016, but they didn't. But he was shown it, and it was very small. It was a little, sort of like a grain of rice, to be implanted subcutaneously under your skin.
I think it's the wave of the future, that we'll all have implants.
The right to walk around without a microchip implant seems pretty safe right now. But would that still be the case if people without implants somehow came to be in the minority? Or if the infrastructure of the entire planet ever came to be based on the assumption that people do have an implant?
Is this the mark of the beast?
This is the mark of the beast. It's June.
Well, what is going on here, John?
Well, Riley, there's been this thing going around, this email from Suncorp Bank. Now, for those of you who are outside of Queensland, Australia, Suncorp is like a local bank in our state, and we'll just put a picture up of the letter that was sent around. But they're pretty much canvassing their customers and asking them, you know, how they'd feel about being microchipped and explaining how safe it is. And, you know, we've been putting it in animals for the last 20 years and it's going to be really great. And, yeah, they're pretty much, you know, canvassing all the customers to get ready for the microchip.
To see how everyone feels about getting one.
Yeah, just putting the word out. Start talking about it and get everybody accepting it.
I wonder how many people will come back and say, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what makes me think.
I do believe we are just there. We will have devices in our body, and our wealth will be directly proportional with the number of the devices that we will have in our own body. We have to have, because imagine a world that we use right now, cell phones. And we personalize those cell phones, we change the ringtone, we change the wallpaper. So it will be the same. We will have devices in our body, and we will personalize those devices to have a cooler side in a party, and as well as to check our body health and wellness.
Shanann, you are putting electrodes into the brain, so given what Ed says, we don't really understand a huge amount about it. How do you know you hit the right spot? I mean, you know, is it just sort of like throwing a dart? You're just saying, fingers crossed, let's hope for the best?
So what we do in our needle type device, we have multi-channels. So in one electrode, we apply voltage to the neuron, and then through another electrode, we measure the neuron potential. And once we know that we are at the right location, through the neuron potential that we measure, then we infuse multiple drugs at that location. So this is multifunctional and minimally invasive. a device, and I call this device a spaghetti because it is initially stiff enough to be inserted inside the brain, and then later on there is a special polymer around it, so it dissolves in the body fluidics, brain fluidics, and becomes flexible and move around with the brain itself. And by this way we can minimize the mechanical harm inside the brain tissue.
We have radio frequency identification, or RFID chips. These tiny devices can store information, such as a unique user ID, which can be read wirelessly by scanners. They're often used for tracking items in warehouses, but they're increasingly being used in more personal applications, such as implanted medical devices or even pets. Some futurists even speculate that one day, we might all have an RFID chip implanted in our bodies, carrying all our personal information. These technologies in themselves are neutral. They can be used for good, for convenience, for security. But they could also potentially be used to implement a system as described in the prophecy. A system where everyone is marked, everyone is tracked, and no one can buy or sell without the mark. We find ourselves in a society where the mark of the beast isn't some distant, abstract concept, but a tangible reality.